Hey, it's Mr. Malte. I just want to go through a little quick lesson on how to use the curve and polyline tools in Google Slides or Google Drawings. Just get us used to that and comfortable with that before we do any more complex projects. So let's get started. We're going to go to a brand new slide, slides.new, or you can get there from Drive, new, slides, or in Classroom if your teacher's giving you a blank template. X the themes. You can go layout, blank. So themes, get rid of layout blank. We can save the title. We're going to call this something interesting later on. But I do want to go File and Page Setup. So once you've gotten rid of the layout or the themes on the side and gone to Layout blank, you're ready to go. File, Page Setup. And instead of widescreen, I want this to be 11 by 8.5. Just in case it ever gets printed. Boom. We're ready to go. So that was File, Page Setup, and Custom 11 by 8.5. Okay, so the tool that we're using is under the Line tool right here. So there are a bunch in here. Make sure you choose the right ones. We're going to be using the Curve and Polyline tool, not Curved Connector. If you ever have something like that happen where you get a line or something weird, you can select it, backspace. So we're going to draw a few shapes. I'm actually going to change my background right away. Background, color. I'm going to go with some bluish colors. That's going to be my little theme, but you can decide. Just ask that you kind of keep it in the same area of color, like whether it's cool or warm colors, just kind of keep that in there. So I'm going to go now to my Line tool, and I'm going to use Curve. And Curve tool, you just have to get used to it. You might want to try doing some just gumdrop shapes where you click and move and click and move and click and move and go and just get that shape. So these shapes, you can move them around. If you click twice, you can see the anchor points. You can move. So once you're used to just getting a shape, then you start getting a little more creative. You click and move and click and move and click. And every time you click, it gives you an anchor point. Just make sure you click, because if you don't, if you click twice, you'll end up with a line that is incomplete, and you just have to backspace. You have to delete that. There's no way to continue shapes, unfortunately. So I'm just going to click and move, until eventually I come back to where I started. I'll put a second one in here. And we're going to do 4 to 6 shapes, depending on how complex your shapes are. There. Maybe want to do that. Kind of cool spiral. Boom. Okay, so these have all been with the Curve tool. And if you want, we could go in, grab the Polyline. Maybe I want some of these more jagged shapes too. So Polyline is going to be straight edges and points. Curve tool is going to be curvy. Boom. All right. And I just want some colors. I'm going to take them all from a similar area of color. Ooh, I don't like that blue. I'm going to go to a custom and just get rid of that kind of unnatural blue. Go in here. There we go. Ah, much better. Ooh, I chose the same one as the background. Don't do that. Darker or lighter. Oops. Escape. If you're ever stuck with the Curve tool, you hit escape. Nope. Light. Pop a purple. It's a little too light. There we go. You can always move them a little bit. You can Control Alt J, shrink them down, and really just get used to drawing with the Curve tool, making some different shapes. Now, you can experiment at this point too if you want to click and drag and select them all. or hold down the Control key, select your shapes. You want more than one shape selected. And I'm going to look at what would this look like with no borders. The little pen, that's the border. Experiment with the borders too. That's the little pen. So no border looks kind of cool. Maybe you can see what it'll look like with a thicker border. Also kind of cool. So that's just up to you which one you want to use. You can just check the border weight right there. Right. Then of course you have to give it a cool name. Funky. E. Funky E's. So there's my quick abstract art, just using the curve and polyline tool. Just get used to playing around with those tools. Try to make some different shapes. Start simple, get more complex. So just as long as you get back to the point you started at, you will be okay. So really easy. There is the curve and polyline tool, and just using some shapes and colors to make some funky abstract art. Good way to get started with those vector tools in Google Drawings.